I sincerely appreciate everyone's kind tutorials and helpful advice on YouTube, but I must say it's a little bit limited. How, for example, are people supposed to find out what knives they should accessorize with, right? I mean, I wondered this for years and I made so many fashion mistakes, and yet no one's out there sharing information. Why? I don't get it, right? But then I realized you have to be a pioneer on these internets and you have to do your own thing. So, because I've learned from my own mistakes, I will show everyone out there how to accessorize with knives because people need to know there are a lot of mistakes being made out there. So I'm just going to start with some fashion don'ts and some fashion do's when it comes to accessorizing with knives. First, don't. Don't number one. No kitchen knives. Come on, people. Why do I... People are just flashing their kitchen knives thinking they're so cool. Well, they're not, okay? Because this is for chopping vegetables. Where's the glamour? Yes, it's shiny, but it's not appropriate. God. Rule number two, or fashion don't number two. Throwing knives are not appropriate when you're going to the movies. Just don't do it. I mean, they're cool, they're fun, and if you're trying to hit something, I guess it's kind of nice, but I mean, they're too big and clunky. And even when they're cool, like, you know, this assassin throwing stiletto knife, it's still... Throwing is not really for fashion, unless you're throwing paint on a fur coat, and that's even a little bit tacky these days. So, another fashion don't, number three, just stay away from the big knives. Alright, sometimes I'm tempted to take this one out, right? Because it's got this cool, like, camel bone handle and damask steel folded. It's all shiny and pretty, but it's just too big. Where are you going to put this? I mean, really? And you know, sometimes people are like, but it's vintage. It's a World War II bayonet. I'm like, no, I mean, you can't put this in a purse. And if you have to go with a bigger medium-sized knife, you might as well go with, I mean, if you have to go with one with a cover. You know, like this one, it's beautiful, it's elegant, it has a nice blade, but it has a cover. So you're not ripping your clothes. Oh, I see this all the time. It's so annoying. It's so tacky. Another fashion don't when it comes to knife accessorizing, don't get one of these fancy knives that you flip around like Brendan Fraser in the second Mummy movie. If you don't know how to use it, you look like a spaz. I look like a spaz when I try to use this, and I cut the hell out of my hands. And yeah, they invented these pens where you can like practice with the same kind of knife move. So practice with that first if you really want to use that, but honestly, there are better alternatives. So if you're going to take a flashy function knife, learn how to use it or just leave it at home. Another thing, we can also talk about do's. And what I like to do with fashionable accessorizing knives is stay with the small ones. So here's a good example. It has a nice shiny handle. There are two little flamingos, which is a nice little, you know, feminine touch to what is typically a masculine tool. And, you know, it has a pretty enough blade. But the problem is it's a little bit clunky to get it out, and there's not a lot of specialness going on there. You can also go with the super, super tiny cute feminine blades. I like these. They're kind of like the cell phones in Zoolander, you know, hello, except you're more like, hello. But they're really cute. Another problem is the blades are still a little bit boring. So when you accessorize with a knife, what I advise is something that is not only cute on the outside, but also has a little bit of branding in it. It has cool functionality that doesn't require skill and that is easy to carry around. And what I use for that is this little buddy here. I have my little Hello Kitty on it for the branding, right? Super kawaii. And then it has a nice handle. It's pink. And best of all, it has showy blade action, but it's not hard to use. This is the ultimate fashion do when it comes to accessorizing with knives. So to review, you want cute, small, and branded. You don't want for throwing or for kitchens or just generally big, tacky knives, all right? So there. Now YouTube has a guide in terms of accessorizing with knives because we don't need to hear more about makeup. We don't need to hear more about clothes. We need creative things. So I challenge you to do some creative things in terms of tutorials on YouTube because people need to know these things. Now the world's going to be a little bit less full of knife fashion faux pas, figure out what's wrong with your world and fix it. I hope you learned something new tonight. I didn't, but that's just because I know everything. Good night, and good luck.